Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about the 3 things that happen when you actually follow your intuition. And it's really freeing once you know how to do it.
Right, so one of our last episodes was what happens when you don't follow your intuition. And that's all the negative side. And we've been there, but we've also been on this side to where over the last 8 years specifically for me, I've been following my intuition and building momentum, which we've done a whole episode about that. If you have not seen that episode, I would highly recommend that one too, about momentum and how that translates to your life.
Definitely. So the very first thing when it comes to following your intuition, the benefit of that is you actually feel good, you feel in flow, and when you feel like that, you're energized for your life. So this could be in business, personal relationships, whatever it is, you have this unlimited energy, you're tapping into the source, your own soul, so you feel very, very energized when it comes to different things in your life.
Right, because you're in spirit, and when you're in spirit, you're feeling good, or you're feeling God, or however you want to say it, and when you're in spirit, you're using your intuition.
Right, and more creative ideas flow. When you're in flow, you're going to get more creative ideas. You're not going to feel as stagnant.
Right, I always compare it to when I'm playing sports or anything, and I'm in flow, and sports really allow me to 100% follow my instincts because I get in this state of where I'm not thinking and I'm just playing, and you get into this state of flow. And a lot of you have been into this state of flow in a lot of different areas, whether it's working on cars or cooking or whatever you do every single day. I think it's things that we do every day to where we start doing these things and then we start to get in flow because we're intuitively acting.
Yeah, definitely.
We're locked in on that.
Yeah, and it feels like autopilot. It's easy. It's not something that you really have to think about. It's very natural.
It almost feels like so easy that you're cheating.
Yeah.
But understand that's when you're hitting that top level, or one of the top levels of intuitive living. So then it goes to number 2, which is, we wrote it down right here, it puts you in positions of power. Because when you're following your intuition and you're making decisions quickly and you know exactly where you want to go, who you want to be with, or the kind of environments that you want to create, you start to create those environments everywhere you're at. Even if you're in a negative or a so-called negative environment, it'll start to create from you because you'll have so much momentum in this. But more importantly, you'll be saying yes to the things that you want to say yes to and no to the things that you want to say no to.
And I think that when you're in that state of feeling like excited that you're there because you followed your intuition, you're going to feel more confident when you're in the situation because you're not holding back, because you actually feel good being there. So when you actually say yes to things that you really want to be a part of, it's a whole different energy than feeling kind of like self-doubt about it. So I think that's a big thing. When you're in your power, you're more confident, you speak more clearly, you speak from the heart, people feel that. And actually, when you're vibrating that energy out there, it's healing people because you're being yourself, and it gives them permission to be themselves too.
Absolutely. And one decision that I had to make that was very crucial in my life was, I talk about it a lot in this podcast because it was a big decision for me to where I used my intuition, and that was with teaching in the school system. So my ego was telling me, Tony, you're an introvert. How are you going to be able to handle being inside all day, talking to all the teachers, the students, and everything? But my intuition and Lindsay's intuition and the whole feeling, we knew at the time. Lindsay was telling me, I knew it. When I got quiet, it just came over me. I had to teach in the school system. So that's the decision I made. And then once I started to go in there, I started to realize why my intuition was telling me this, because that was a position to where I could be in my power. And I think that when we follow our intuition, it's telling us environments to where it's going to bring our power out. Because if we bring our power out, which is our connection to God or the universe, we help everybody around us do the same thing.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because sometimes you'll get things intuitively, but it's important to note that just like Tony got that information that he had to teach in the school system, he also listened to his intuition when it was time to leave the school system to go into his business. So I think that's important, that your intuition is going to work for you in that time, but once you feel that shift in energy, it's not going against what happened 2 years ago. It's actually following in the moment what's happening.
Right, because I could have looked at it like this. So back in 2011, I knew that I had to go back to school and then get a teaching degree. Well, I went to school for 3 years after that because I had to take all these teaching classes. And then I only taught in the school systems for 3 years. So on that third year, when my intuition was telling me, hey, it's time to move on, I could have been like, wait, so you're telling me, intuition, that
Yeah.
I should go to school, spend all this money, all this time to only teach in the school systems for 3 years? But I didn't do that because I watched podcasts like this and I talked to people that lived different situations like this, and everybody said the same thing. Just keep following your intuition. Steve Jobs always says you can't connect the dots looking forward. You could only connect the dots looking backwards. So you have to trust that your intuition is guiding you, or God is guiding you, and that's what it is.
Yeah, your
That's what I
soul
feel.
always knows. That's true. Okay, number 3. What is
Okay,
number
so
3?
number 3, so in last episode, when you go against your intuition, you start to create this vortex. Well, anything we do in life, I feel, and there's a lot of research and a lot of evidence that shows that we start to create this vortex of momentum. So if you follow your intuition, like we're talking about in this episode, you start to create this huge positive vortex, and it starts to become unconscious, and it starts to take over your entire life. And it starts to get easier. Your decisions start to get more clear. You start to have mental clarity, and everything starts to flow in your life.
Yeah, you're going to create new patterns that come up where you're easily very decisive when it comes to decisions. You don't need to go to other people to check and confirm if it's right. You'll be able to answer the questions like, do I want to do this? Do I actually want to follow through this? Or nope, this isn't the right time for me. I don't feel pulled to it. And you can keep on moving. There's no wasting time trying to decide something.
Absolutely.
When you go against it, it's the complete opposite. It's all about being indecisive and looking for answers outside of yourself. Being decisive is so important because you can get more things to happen quickly because you're deciding from your soul.
Right. I can remember going back to my career choice. Before 2011, I was doing a lawn care business, going to school, doing some network marketing, just trying a lot of different things. And I was confusing myself on what I really wanted, even though I knew deep down that I loved teaching and that I loved sports, and and it came across my mind several times, be a PE teacher or work with kids. And I kept confusing myself, and I wasn't following that intuition, that intuitive decision, and that one big decision, because I feel like that's a big decision. What you choose to do 40 hours a week or 50 or however long you work, is a huge decision because that's a big part of your life, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is, stay-at-home dad. But once I was bold enough to be like, no, I'm going to follow my intuition, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to do this, even though it didn't seem all perfect right away, and it felt like a grind at first, like I was moving this energy. It was like I was picking up this big rock and I was just trying to carry it up a hill. And that's how I felt the first year of college, and the second year got a little easier, the rock got smaller. And then when I graduated school and then I started teaching, it was like I was going down a hill on a slide. And that's how I look at this vortex, is like, no, sometimes you might be in a big hole right now. Maybe you listen and you're in a big hole right now. You have to do one intuitive decision at a time, whether it's, where do I want to have coffee today? And your heart's telling you, your intuition's telling you, go to a different one, go 2 miles away. Make that choice. And I think that we could build from there, from the small choices.
Definitely. You can start small. And then it's going to be difficult, because once you start paying attention to your intuition, reality sets in and you start to realize, wow, do I want to be surrounded with these people? Do I want to be in this job? There's going to be changes that have to be made. So that's important too, is to know that when you're following your intuition, it's magical, but at the same time, it's very bittersweet because changes have to be made when you start following your intuition.
Absolutely. You'll have like a quarter of your life falling off, whether it's friendships or
And then new stuff will come
And then
in.
that's the thing. It's like when you're doing a garden and you're cutting out the weeds and you're doing everything. That way the garden could grow more full and look like a beautiful Zen garden.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that and you keep all these pieces around you, you never will have that space, because the universe is all space. And if you're taking up we only have a certain amount of space in our life. If you're taking up that space with the weeds, you're not going to allow the beautiful flowers and all these things to come into your life, as in people and opportunities.
That's so true. I'm thinking of the example of just having certain flowers planted next to each other, where you see one flower really blooming and then you place another one too close to it and it sucks the nutrients from it. And if it's not the right thing to put next to it, you have to move it over in order to survive in this environment. So it's something to think about when you think of following your intuitive nudges. There are going to be things that are taken out, just like Tony mentioned, and sometimes you can kind of shift things around and see. And you don't have to do it all at once, but it will happen slowly, and just listen to that. And more of a ripple effect will take place in the positive when it comes to following your intuition.
Right. So in the end, just trust. Make one decision at a time, one intuitive decision. Quit asking everybody around you, because
that's a big thing.
That is the biggest thing. You're the only one that truly knows your intuition. I mean, yeah, us empaths, we could sense your emotional state. We could do all that and help you get there a little bit. But you're the only one that knows.
Yeah. And I want to leave on this. I just thought of this too. I didn't even think about this before, but if you are wanting to learn more about your intuition, I have a free class on my website. It's called Unlock Your Intuition in 30 Minutes. And that's a good one, because some people will they'll send messages saying, well, how can I tap in more? And that's the class that I always recommend that they listen to. So it's lindsaymarino.com, and then there's a button that you can get free classes, and it says start here. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.